We've been hearing for 8 years now that there's nothing worse in the world than Donald Trump. He's Hitler, and now people are taking shots at him because of it. At a cocktail party recently, my liberal friends say they're praying for Donald Trump, praying to God, who they don't even believe in, to spare his life. If anything happens to Trump, we'll end up with Vance, and he's even worse than Trump. It doesn't matter what your narrative is, but you have to stick with it, or at least leave yourself a little wiggle room. They never should have painted Trump or anyone as the worst thing ever. In an archived interview with Lee Radziwill, she described her cousins, the Beals, as eccentric. Big Edie was very eccentric, and her daughter was almost as eccentric. The word almost is significant because it's a safeguard for hyperbole. Hyperbole is definitely lower middle class. It speaks to a level of sophistication and nuance that's lacking in the world today. None of us want to pick up our cross and carry it, but President Trump is willing to do so. All Kamala is offering is being opposed to that. It's almost as bad as being the devil incarnate. Welcome. Welcome to Conservative Coffee Hour. I'm Stanley Smith. Each week we take a look at where we are in the political narrative. We have three stories running concurrently: politics, governance, and conspiracy theory. The political narrative is that we have a 50-50 race between two apparently bad choices. The Pope told us recently to choose between the two evils, and he's couching this choice in which we see as the greater sin: the sin of abortion or restricting immigration. From a governance standpoint, Paul Engel tries to keep us on track that either way, we're probably losing ground because we don't even know what we're fighting for. Most of us have very little understanding of the Constitution. On the conspiracy channels, they're telling us a major story is coming out soon about election integrity. Apparently, some states may be unable to certify their election because of gross failures in the process and problems with the voter rolls. All of these narratives vie for our attention and threaten to undo us from having the resolve of actually doing something about it all. Larry, our political activist, tells us to be cautious of being disempowered and giving up. We must be registered to vote, encourage others to register, and then vote. We must continue to work within the system until the very end. Paul tells us pretty much the same thing from the perspective of the Constitution. Voting is our way of hiring new people. Conspiracy runs the risk of taking us off the course of taking action, and we must always be cautious of that. No matter how tantalizing and potentially true the narratives might actually be. I'm still tripping over the piles of plywood here in Chicago that were stockpiled for the Democrat National Convention. Democrats tend to protest because their party is often not progressive enough. And conservatives tend to just close up and close down when the party is too progressive. We've talked before about merging the dynamism of progressivism with the values of conservatism, but it's a tough sell. In the final analysis, we have actually had a 50-50 race between the worst person in human history and a senile old man. Now we have a 50-50 race between the worst person in human history and someone who is not doing any better than the senile old man. You can do the math. The only thing worse than Donald Trump is Kamala Harris. And you can see how that's going to add up. If you would like to join us at Conservative Coffee Hour call is every Saturday at 10 a.m. Central Time on Zoom. I will include my email in the description of this video. Be happy to send you an invitation. And I look forward to seeing you very, very soon.